following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Tonight, we discuss the contentious online safety bill. How does the new bill seek to address lapses in already existing legislature? And does the bill adequately fulfill modern standards for online safety? A very good evening and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of Law, Land and Liberty, where we break down key legal concepts for the layman. Well, before we begin any of the discussion tonight, I'd like to wish all our viewers a very happy and prosperous new year. As we start off 2024, we have quite a few legal topics to discuss throughout the year, so I hope you stick around till the end. Well, today's topic, I believe it is one of the most appropriate to start off our lineup as well, because it's on the online safety bill. Now, this bill, while we have spoken a lot about digital safety and safety in the digital space in general, specifically with copyright and other issues, we really haven't spoken about this specific bill that's going to be coming out probably soon regarding safety of everyone involved in the online sphere. And to speak about this very vast, I believe, topic is someone that is probably the most well-equipped in this field, and that is Attorney at Law Viranjana Herath. Sir, thank you once again for taking the time to come and speak to us on yet another topic on our program. Of course, it's not your first time here, sir. Thanks very much. A small introduction into Mr. Herath. He is the chairperson of the Media Law Forum, one of the first of its kind specifically as an organization, and he's also a research scholar at the South Asian University. Safe to say we'll be in great hands for this specific topic. Well, before we go into any of the specifics, here is a breakdown of exactly how the discussion is going to flow. So first we'll be talking about the basics of the bill and what exactly the bill entails. Next we'll be talking about the application of the bill in the current context. And finally we'll be talking about the future of online safety in Sri Lanka.
My name is Jason. I'm a businessman. My question is on the online safety bill. What are the salient features of the newly proposed bill?
All right, well, without any further ado, let's get right into the discussion, sir. There is quite a lot for us to unpack with this still developing context for the online safety bill, sir. But I believe our viewers would very much like to know exactly what the bill entails. Could you please start us off in this discussion, sir, by providing us a little bit of an overview of the key objectives that the bill is hoping to actually achieve in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, this is the bill name. It's online safety bill. There is no dispute between the public. Online safety must be, implemented in any. It is, but I have to say that online safety should not be only the legal perspectives. There are so many other perspectives, but this is the legal perspective, whatever the government is saying. According to the bill, they said that this is for protect people, including children, from the online abuse. Online abuse, I mean that abuses based on internet. That is the very initial objective of the bill as said in the bill. But I have another opinion, I will discuss later. But it is saying that it is for protecting people, including children, women and every people, all kind of members of the society from the internet abuses. That is the basic objective of the act as it says. In this backdrop, they are going to introduce so many things like that, so many punitive actions also introduced. A part of that, they have going to deal with internet intermediaries and the internet providers in that part of also in the bill. For an example, that if there is any legal issue in Sri Lanka, but we can need to issue notice to Google or some other internet providers, but the binding authority, it's an issue. So this kind of approach is also addressed by this bill. Overview, it is internet safety, protecting people from online abuses, as it says. By this, they introduced so many punitive measures, also so many new offences, some offences. New offences, also they introduced some additional offences by this bill. This is the basic of this one. Or we can say that it is as said, some kind of a law going to regulate internet. Right. It's my view also. There is some merits also. Also, there are huge loopholes there.
Exactly. Well, before we go into the specifics of if this is truly a fully positive force that's going to come in to regulate internet and internet usage, so there was some talk regarding the bill being named a cyberbullying bill, a cybersecurity bill. Do you believe that online safety bill is the accurate term to coin this bill as?
Yeah, as I earlier said that I have an opinion this is not for the online safety only. Because these days we are going through the media. I'm not saying this as a lawyer. This is not the law perspective. I'm as a researcher scholar, I'm a researcher, I'm a legal researcher. As per my observations, there is some kind of a hidden perspective also behind this act. By this act, this bill is going to enact as same, there would be a huge threat against freedom of expression in the Sri Lanka. So that kind of agenda also going with this kind of a bill. This is my observation and my opinion. So someone can argue that it is not, but this is my argument and my opinion. So it's online safety bill, because online safety, if we are going to say the online safety only, but in this act we can say some provisions which related to, for my observation, it is not only for the cyber perspectives, some kind of a criminal defamation things. It was with our penal code, but it was removed by 2002 current president. He was in the prime minister that time. That time it was removed. But I feel that this is some other way they are going to introduce criminal defamation to online platforms. So that kind of a criticism also I have. Online safety bill, you can say, yeah, it's no issue, but this is not only for the online safety. That's my opinion.
Right. It's important for our viewers to keep in mind as well. It's not just some one-dimensional bill that's there specifically solely for safety on the internet. There are certain hidden aspects as well, which we really do have to get down to when it's coming to discussing the current context and the application of the bill as well. But before we go into that, sir, you mentioned certain offences, you mentioned certain inclusions in the bill. Could you please just specifically explain to us how the bill, you believe, will be tackling the current issues in the online sphere in Sri Lanka?
Yeah. That's a very good question. From 12 to 25, as I remember, sections of the provisions of the bill, that mentions so many offences. But except 2 or 3 offences, all others are existing in Sri Lankan legal system, in other laws. For an example, there is a law related if someone is going to harm religion sentimentals. So it can be punished by several laws. That under the penal code or the ICCPR Act, there are so many laws for that one, to counter that one. In this bill also it is introduced. All right, it is also introduced. So it means this is another law we can use to address such issues. The thing is that it is, because this is only for the online platform, but you know that very recently we know one case that one famous religious leader, I'm not going to mention the name, he was arrested under ICCPR Act. But after 2-3 weeks period, he was in the remanded also. Then later he released, but dropped the charges of ICCPR. So, but he was in custody for some time, in remand actually, all right, in jail. So, my question is, if someone do that person is not doing that thing only the online platforms, but earlier there are one artist also in the she was also in the under the custody, I think almost a month. So it is also charged by the ICCPR Act. Whatever she did, it is also based on online platforms things, because she did it somewhere else, but they take into consideration the online part. So my question is, if someone is going to do religious harm, there are enough sufficient laws with us to deal even it is online or offline. So that kind of a new provisions there, not only the religious harm, online cheating, any frauds related to online, sexual harassment, right, against children, women. Also, these are the basics of the whatever counted by can be counted that kind of a things, even existing laws. New laws, we can see some new laws. As I earlier said, if there is any personal online harassment kind of a thing, I mean that by a statement, it says that false statement according to the bill, it can be they can be charged under this law. But it is also so many issues, because how they are going to identify the false statement. What is the interpretation of that one? There is an interpretation, but it is very vague words. So national security also can be addressed to the, if someone is used online platforms by making false statement against national security, they can be punished. But there are so many laws to counter that kind of a thing: penal code, anti-terrorism law, ICCPR Act. So basically, my opinion overall, online abuse kind of a things, I mean that false statement, if someone make a false statement against someone, that kind of a things is the new part of this bill. That's why this make some kind of a connection with the criminal defamation also. That kind of a things are there, but all other aspects are existing laws. But only thing they are by the bill, they are just make a connection. It's to the online platform.
Right, so this is almost a pathway bill where there's a bridge made for already existing legislature in order to enact them in the online sphere.
Yes.
That actually begs the question, sir, is there really a need for a separate specific online safety bill? Why not reinforce already existing legislature with amendments? Is that not possible, or is this the better way for us to go?
No, I am, to some extent I agree with you, whatever you suggest mean that. Yeah, correct. I cannot say we don't have any, we don't need the law. We need the laws. We need online safety bill kind of a thing. I have to say that one, because it's a specific thing. There are online harassment things we need. But the thing is that this is a substantive law. You know, we are going to establish a substantive law. Whatever substantive laws in Sri Lanka, while implementing these laws, there are huge issues in the country. We can observe several. For an example, I can say the ICCPR Act. It's a Civil and Political Covenant Act. It is for the protecting. It's for the protect rights, counter hate speech, child rights, and other thing. But it has been misused for years. Now it's determined by the Supreme Court too in the country, Apex Court. So in this backdrop, I am seeing, from this act, there is a huge potential to misapplication this act to suppress people's rights rather than protecting people from internet abuses. That is the issue with us. So we need a law. As a researcher, as a legal scholar, as a lawyer, I cannot say we don't have no need laws to counter issues in the internet. But this is not the time. Why we are in hurry? Because we know that this is with government, that constitution wise we are going to the constitution law aspects, that authority of this government to take such a law is a question.
Right.
That kind of a backdrop, if we are going to implement this law with a hurry procedure, why we are hurry for this one? We need laws, but the way this law going to be enacted is not the way.
Right. There is actually quite a bit to discuss specifically when it comes to the necessity and the timing of this bill as well. But before we go into this, go into a short commercial break, sir, very quickly I'd like to get your take. We just spoke about how there could be certain encroachments when it comes to the legislative aspects and the people's rights. Could you tell me, in your opinion, is there no such proper balance at all when it comes to regulating online safety and individual privacy rights? Do you believe that the new bill approaches it appropriately?
Yeah, the rights. I mean that rights also different kind of a thing. I mean that if we are, yes, privacy law is not a part of Sri Lankan constitution even anywhere, but there are some judgments, some Supreme Court judgment, it address privacy to some extent. The online privacy is the question from whom we are going to protect privacy rights. Because if suppose you and me, between you and me, there is a conversation, okay? We are going to the conversation. If we are going, someone else from this institution, someone else going to going to look for this conversation, it's a violation of privacy of, but it is a kind of a civil matter, all right? It's a kind of a civil matter, it is a people-to-people aspects. But if our discussion is going to be monitored or going to be surveilled by the government or a government authority, then there is a violation of privacy rights. That rights always have to be protected by the government. So, my opinion, if government is going to say that this is for the protection of privacy, my opinion is it's not. We have to protect our digital independence, our digital rights, our digital privacy from the government. By this act, I feel government is going to involve to take off our privacy rights from us. So protecting privacy and this online safety bill is two aspects. That's my opinion.
Right. Well, there is a lot for us to discuss specifically on that aspect as well. Is this truly for our safety, or is there some form of regulation or unauthorized surveillance of some sort happening within, the internet usage of citizens of Sri Lanka? Well, before we go into any of that, let's take a very short commercial break. You're watching Law, Land and Liberty. Stay with us.
Does the bill address key lapses of safety in already existing legislation?
Welcome back. You're watching Law, Land and Liberty, and we were in conversation with Attorney at Law Viranjana Herath. We were talking about the online safety bill. Now, sir, the segment we just left off on might have probably left quite a few questions in the minds of our viewers, specifically regarding who this bill is actually for and what this bill is really used for specifically. Now, let's go back to the surface level of this bill a little bit to get more context on exactly what the bill claims to be protecting, and that is on threats and cybercrime as well. Specifically, as you mentioned in the previous segment as well, there is more focus on cybercrime and threats to individuals and also to businesses. Does the bill, in your opinion, adequately approach threats to individuals and also businesses, especially when it comes to the cybercrime aspects?
Actually, let us think like that. If there is any issue, I mean that on internet business, the online threats, cyber crimes, that kind of things, we have laws for that one. There is a cybercrime act with us, 2004 enacted, as I remember, right? There is a law for that one. If someone is engaged with cyber criminal offense, I mean that cheating or some other money laundering aspects through the online, we have sufficient laws to address that one. So there is no need for new law for that purpose. We have already laws. So it is something different that privacy to some extent we need some kind of a protection, but there is a data protection bill also, right? Data protection bill. So my opinion, that's why I'm saying that, always I'm saying that in other platforms also, this law is, generally they are saying that protecting people from online harassment. They mainly said that women and children, because it is a sensitive part. That's why my opinion, government is just made a cake by mud and it iced in by sugar, the sugar coated one. But the sugar is that parts that this is for protecting children, protecting women, that kind of a things are there. But there's a huge potential to violate freedom of expression of the people. That's why I think under this cybercrime, regulating cybercrime, online threats, there are some parts in the bill for that. But we have a cybercrime law that online safety and cybercrime is totally different aspects, right? But if you are permitted me, I'm going to go beyond this one. But the issue is, if we are going to address the issues, a big issue is online safety, just enacting a law only in the field, only in this ground, is not sufficient. It's a very comprehensive process. We have to deal with internet intermediaries, internet providers. They are big tech giants in the world, like Google, Meta, and blah blah companies. Okay, so dealing with that companies is the most important part. If just enacted act, it's not going to be a good aspects for the people's perspective. That's my opinion.
Right, there is more of an overarching issue that not just a simple bandage like the online safety bill can fix. That it has to be systematic change.
Yes.
So it begs the question exactly what the certain aspects, certain arms of the government actually play within this bill, especially when it comes to enforcement, sir, which this segment will be focusing a little bit about. Could you please explain to us, sir, when it comes to law enforcement authorities, can you elaborate what role especially law enforcement authorities actually play within the bill? How exactly does that translate into real life offences that have been made?
Yeah, there is under the bill, they proposed establish a commission, online regulation commission for that purpose. That the commission is going to be appointed by the president, 5-member commission with the experts. So then commission, if suppose there is a statement, it's a false statement, someone made it, right, to the online. So if it is against me, I'm getting it as a false one. So I'm going to make a complaint to the commission. Then commission can go through that one and they can make an order against me, take down this statement, right? If I'm not going to do that, they can go the criminal procedure, the high court, magistrate court, and that must also go. But on the other hand, they can make an order against the internet giants. I mean that internet providers, that whoever internet provider, even it is in the Meta, then they can make an order against Meta.
Right.
So these are the issues. So it's a 5-member commission. How they are going to say it's a false statement? Where is my, yeah, how they can decide, can they decide a statement is false or true?
Right, so that means there is no such, as you mentioned, I believe previously you mentioned that there is a vague list of exactly what we can follow to confirm if this is a false statement of such. Is that not properly enforced within the bill?
Yes, to some extent yes. But I have to say that one thing I have to add. This is actually bill now in the parliament. They are going to table, pass it, as minister said that, relevant minister said that 23rd of January. But it was came to, as I remember, in September. Then it was in the Supreme Court that tabled the parliament. After within the 14 days, it was, it has been challenged by the petitions in the determination period. I think, as I remember, around 50 petitions were filed against this bill. So overall, that Supreme Court, whatever the determination order, Supreme Court mentioned, if this bill is going to pass same, I mean that without any issue, but Supreme Court around 30 sections, if we are going to pass it same manner, 30 sections need 2/3 majority, the special majority. If a law, in the Gazette there is a law, it's around the 60-70 segment as I remember. So the almost half of that bill, around 50 places, Supreme Court mentioned if you're going to pass this,
there's a special majority.
Yeah, a special majority. Is it a bill? I mean, that is it a good, can we say it's a good law? Whatever we are seeing now, Supreme Court also, but there is another thing that in the Supreme Court determination hearing, AG department also made around 30-40 changes for the original bill. Now, we don't know what government is going to do in 23rd. Even the public security minister hasn't said anything clearly yet. He said that recently. I said that it is the Supreme Court is also give the green light, but not the green light. It is made it's green to some extent, he can say, but we don't know they are going to enact the same. They are going to make the change to the bill. They are going to change the bill according to Supreme Court thing. In Sri Lankan judicial process, it is a very complicated system. So that's why I am saying that this bill is still complicated. We cannot say what they are going to do. Not only the legal enforcement process, the other parts also. There are some issues. We don't know what is the final bill. But the document he was in the Gazette going to change to some extent. We don't know. So that's why I am saying, that's my personal opinion is, we need some kind of a comprehensive discussions regarding this before enacting this as a law.
That actually leads me to my next question, which I had in mind, which we could probably dive a little bit deeper into specifically. So when it comes to the input processes and the consultations that have been going around in what exactly to include and the drafting of the bill involving stakeholders and all, has there been a comprehensive process up till now?
No, as per my knowledge, no. In this bill, they are going to deal with not only the ground level people. I mean, they are going to introduce new criminal offences, that kind of things are there. But they are going to deal with the internet providers, internet intermediaries, that kind of a big tech giants. But they haven't had any conversation, as per my knowledge, before this draft me. The other thing is, it is started in 2016 or somewhere. Now it suddenly came. But in the process, per my knowledge, there is no public consultations. Not only the public consultation, but also there is no consultations or a conversation with the tech giants, because they are going to be regulate in this sector by this bill. But we have to understand the reality. We can make a law and we can say that we are going to control Google. We can say, but how we can do? The practicality, we have to address the practical aspects of that one. So these concerns have not been addressed even in the bill, even in the enacting process, in the drafting process. So as a conclusion for this question, I can say nothing. They haven't had any public consultations. Also, they haven't had any conversations among these stakeholders of this process. So now I think that's why I'm saying always, I have a separate opinion, but this can be a ground law. They just whatever Supreme Court suggests, they can make this decision. This can be a law of a ground. Then it can be misused, right, against the people's expression and other thing. But real issues related to online safety would not be addressed. This is the threat now we have.
Exactly. And so a question of curiosity, we are kind of running out of time in this segment as well, but before we go off into any breaks, I'd like to ask you just mentioned, sir, that for false statements and of the like, there'll be a 5-member commission, and that's how there's some sort of process that leads to believing if this was in fact a false statement or not. So such things in the cyber sphere, has there not been proper implementation of existing laws? Is that why we're bringing a new law in specifically for that area, or do you believe that already existing legislature is able to combat such a thing?
To some extent we have the false statement. If someone make a false statement, there is a civil law for that, counter that one. All right.
Does this make it criminal?
Yeah, now under this, it is make a criminal, all right? It is make a criminal, but that's why I'm saying that earlier said that it is kind of a criminal defamation law, introduced in some other manner. The other part is that if overall, whatever they are going to mention as the false statement, that Supreme Court given some kind of a determination suggestion that it should be that prohibited statement kind of a word. There is some terminology issues introduced, but Supreme Court introduced mentioned some terminologies. But however, overall, to some extent, the false statement or a fake news, that kind of a statement can be addressed by our existing laws. The criminal defamation, also the ICCPR Act, under the penal code.
But do you believe this streamlines that process by any means?
Yes, we can say, to some extent we can say it is streamlining, but there are so many issues regarding this. The process of streaming is the issue.
Right.
But it's a 5-member commission can do that kind of things. So how we are going to, from whom we are going to take the confirmation about the truth? Suppose you are online platform, your channel has online platform. They are going to report something like that online platform through some medicine issue. All right. So someone can say that health authorities can say there is no issue like this. But people can say like this, that what is the truth? How we are going to truth? For that commission can order, remove this news. So can commission, is
there authority there?
Yeah, is authority there. That who is going to decide that one? That kind of things are there. So it is very vague, that's why I'm saying.
That actually leads me to a very good question that we can actually discuss right before we go into a break, sir, since we're running out of time. Are there any notable provisions in the bill in regarding the responsibilities of online platforms and service providers?
Yes, yes, yes. That's why I'm saying that they have to be registered in here. It means that suppose the Meta, they are going to they have to establish in an office in Sri Lanka. I mean that not the office, but they have to register in Sri Lanka. So.
To declare that they are
declare it's some kind of official connection they are going to make with that companies. So from that purpose, they are going to, if the commission or a local courts, right, domestic courts made some order against them, there is a binding authority between them. But the question is, are they going to do the register here? It's totally up to them. I'm not saying that the whole state responsibilities, whole state powers, we are going to give up to, not going to give up to with them, but we have to think how to deal with them. This is the question now in the today tech giant world. This is not only issue for us, but if you have time, we can discuss further, because now this is the problem with the existing world. How we are dealing with this kind of tech giants, especially countries like Sri Lanka, these small countries. So that's why there is a organization called Asian Internet Coalition, all right, AIC. AIC also made a statement that Google, Meta, and almost all tech giants are members of that one. They made a statement. They are not agree with this bill. Initially, they made a statement. Now, after that, I think government members, some of government representative made them, but still there is no compromise with them together. So, because of that situation, how we are going to implement this law? How we are going to enforce the orders? It is still an issue. So that's why we discussed actually we need some kind of a consultative process.
Right.
Public consultation.
There has to be some form of discussion before there's any confirmation on exactly what the contents of the bill are, especially if there's already outward rejection of the bill in its initial stages.
Yes.
Well, we do have to discuss the international aspects as well as the future of online safety. But before we do any of that, let's go in for a very short commercial break. You're watching Law, Land and Liberty. Stay with us.
name is Sapetma and I am a management student. My question is on the future of online safety. Is the introduction of a new bill the answer to addressing key threats online?
Welcome back to Law, Land and Liberty. We are in our final segment in discussion with Attorney at Law Viranjana Herath. We talk about the online safety bill, and we just left off on a very momentous segment, I believe, where our viewers might have really understood the gravity of not being a connected legislature, where there is no discussion on exactly how the legislature should proceed and what implications that could have on the future of this legislature, and if it will hold any weight at all, especially in the judicial process or even the legislative process, if we can, as citizens of the country, even use this bill in the future if we are to face some form of injustice that is listed in the bill. Well, we are in the final segment, unfortunately, sir, so we're going to have to go into a little bit more of a wider scale of the discussion as well, which I believe we will have to reconvene and discuss on another episode, especially the implications of this on an international scale. But sir, when it comes to the international standards that have been set for online safety and the usage of internet, do you believe that this bill properly encounters all of the necessary aspects by legislature globally in order to protect citizens? Is there such standard upholding?
Yeah, actually the online safety bills are the current trends in the international legal scenario, because almost all countries of the world, they are enacting this kind of a laws. From in UK recently enacted online safety bill. They're more concerned about the child rights, rights of the women, cyberbullying and such aspects. Even the Singapore, there is a that they have some kind of a law there. While we are going through this bill, we can see so many aspects from the Singapore, also from the UK bills, UK laws. But however, that's why I'm saying that it is a trend of online safety bill. This is the era of online safety bill. But the thing is that, if we are going to make a comparison between Singapore law and our law, our bill, but whatever provisions, the criminal provisions, criminal related provisions, Sri Lankan aspects are bigger than Singapore. In this perspective, we can say we are going to, widen the scope of that kind of a regulation body. So, because of that, I am saying always, we have to take good things from the world, no doubt about that. But the problem is that how we can going to deal with that? Whatever Singapore, UK or German, EU, this kind of countries or regional organizations, if they are going to make a deal with the tech giants, they have a separate approach. They have separate power. We have to think about the balance also. But a country like Sri Lanka, if it just goes said that we are going to enact such law, we don't have a power to bargain with them. We don't have that power to demand against them. So then we have to understand what is the process we have to follow. Okay, not the whatever they did. We need to follow a separate approach. From my opinion, we haven't had that approach yet. That's why that in tech giants, that Asian Internet Coalition, they said that we are rejecting this one. But other countries did, almost many countries have some kind of a process. They make it a consultative process, and some kind of a they have some long conversations. But here, whatever we did, it's not that one. So in this backdrop, we have failed. We did not do this level. We are going to do. The other thing is that, as I said, that the punitive measures, we are going to more than the international standards. That generally online safety bills are not going to counter, not going to make a regulate freedom of expression part. But we are more concerned about expression part rather than other online safety issues.
Right, censorship.
Yes. So because of that situation, what going to be happen, that's my prediction. What going to be happen, if someone is going to write something against government, they can label it as a false statement. So that can be commissioned or someone, then they just request to come to the, issue the notice, and because to come to the CID or somewhere, just give a statement. 2-3 times they have been called. Then what would happen? So that people, it's kind of a harassment. It's a too much harassment process. Then they are not going to write. Then it comes a kind of a chilling effect in the society. They are not going to express their free of expression properly. This kind of issues, this kind of things would be happen because of this act. But the other side, that international standard, they are not too much concerned about that kind of a false statement facts in their bills, online safety bills. Online safety is totally different. But false statement and the online safety is, we have to address in some kind of a different manners. So because of that, I am saying, I can conclude this answer for this question. We are taking some things, we have taken some things from the international perspectives, international legal regimes, international legal systems, but we are go beyond that. Whatever we are taking, but we developed or recreated with our some kind of a hidden agendas. That's my observation on this bill.
Just because our pieces of legislature will borrow certain aspects from international pieces of other pieces of legislature does not mean that we are truly upholding these standards, the international standards, when it comes to specifically areas like online safety, which is now a general topic for all countries, because whether we like it or not, we are connected in that sort, in that form, through the personal level to the national level as well. We just spoke about exactly how grim the reality could be if by any chance the worst possible version of this act is passed in the near future. Sir, could you please explain to us if there is any form of accountability that the implementers of the bill will face? If it is mentioned in the bill at all, is there some form of thing to, to maintain checks and balances, or is there no such mention?
Yeah, actually the original bill, whatever we have now as a bill, the check and balance part is very less. I mean that very less. But if government is going to enact the law, enact the bill as,
but there are some features that exist.
With the observations, with the suggestions from the Supreme Court, that there are around, as I earlier said, that around 30 suggestions. If they are going to incorporate that things, I mean going to pass without 2/3 majority, with the 2/3 majority, the bill as it is a huge issue, right? But if they are going to go with the Supreme Court enactments, Supreme Court suggestions, if we are going to enact that Supreme Court suggestions, that observations, there are some good aspects. The check and balance part,
it will be reinforced.
Yes, it's developed actually by their observations. Supreme Court developed some kind of that's my observation, developed the check and balance part. But still, but we have to say that process of my observation is still the process of the appealing. I mean that the role of the commission is an issue to me. Role of the commission is still, there are so many issues because how the 5 people are going to work, because they are going to appoint by the president. They can be removed by the president. So at last they are president's commission. So it is going with the executive power, right? Because we have the executive president. So it is some kind of that executive power is the president. So people who are going to be appointed by the president, they are going to decide what is a policy for the this is a policy statement or something like that. So how we can going to how we can going to be the check and balance, but later it can be there would be a check and balance is to judiciary approaches. But still, but suppose something after posting that removing, then again we can get a remedy. It is not a sometime later. It is that already time gone. So because of that backdrop, I am not happy with the check and balance process in this bill. Whatever as it is very dangerous with the Supreme Court observations, suggestions, it is bit better. But overall, I am not happy with the check and balance process in this bill.
Right. So, and also the preface of the bill, it mentions various agendas that it tries to address through the bill, which is basically safety for women and children specifically, and safety overall of the internet user. So in your opinion, after going through and researching on the bill a little bit more, what do you believe, apart from the freedom of expression aspects, where is the biggest focus of the bill? Is it really for the protection of vulnerable groups such as women and children on the online sphere, or is it more towards corporations and businesses?
Yeah. Generally they are saying that, today I read somewhere the news that public Secretary Minister, he said that this is a main part of the protecting people's rights, because they have got some online threats, around 300 complaints regarding online threats and harassment, such kind of things. So we are going to take this bill, enact this bill as a law for counter that kind of issues. But my question is, if there is a violence, such online harassment, still we have laws for the counter that one. If we have been experiencing several issues. I mean that nude photos uploaded by the other people, they have been convicted, even the magistrate court under the penal code sections of the penal code. If you are going to that uploading some child harassment, something like that, under the penal code they can be arrested. There is no issue regarding online, offline. That is a good part, but they are going to create a legal engagement with the tech giants. I mean that internet providers or that kind of companies. But the problem is, if they are not agree, how they are going to deal with. The other part we have to say, even recently, very recently, I saw the Google. I think, as I remember, Google, they provide some kind of information that some Google accounts, they engage with child abuse in here. They provide the details. It's almost we have a process.
An unofficial process.
Yeah, it's not the unofficial. If criminal investigation department under the our laws, if criminal investigation department or any police department, they request
Despite
from the
not being labeled as a streamlined process, there's already.
Yes, if there is any process, they can request from the officially from the Sri Lankan police. This is a child abuse. We need some, because the tech giants have also policies regarding, because they have some international conventions. They are part of that one. They have some kind of engaging process with the UN to protect children's women's rights. So they are agree with the law. If suppose that you are in online media, online platforms, if you have online account, can you upload a nude picture or something like that for others? It is automatically removed. There is a AI process for that one. So that's why I'm always saying, they are saying that this is to protect children and women and the people, right, their rights from the internet abuses, online abuses. But
already exists.
But my opinion, it should be. There is a process. We have some kind of a mechanism for that one with the legal perspectives. But this bill is, the main focus of this bill is not that. That's my opinion. It is actually going to silence the voice of the people. That's my observation.
Right. I feel like that is a very appropriate area for us to, unfortunately, stop this discussion. Time has come against us, unfortunately. There's a lot more for us to discuss, specifically on the specifics of exactly how the bill will aim to actually implement such things in a practical field, which we just barely were able to touch. But sir, thank you very much for coming on this year's very first episode for the program as well, and explaining to our audience exactly how this new bill is relevant to all of us, since we are all connected, whether we like it or not, to the internet. So thank you very much, sir, for this insightful discussion.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, with the dawn of the new year, there are more hopes and ambitions than ever in bettering our lives. We must be mindful that the means we use in achieving our goals remain safe for us and those around us. We leave you tonight with the words of Christian Lange, a Norwegian Nobel laureate. Technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master. That is all we have for you on Law, Land and Liberty. If you had missed any of today's programs, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/otherderana English. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.